Hi, my name is David Burbine, and I will be discussing the impact of global positioning systems, or GPS. GPS has had an incredible impact on our society, and its effects can easily be seen. I will talk mainly about how GPS affects everyday life, making travel easier for people. Also, I will discuss GPS's impact on the military and the technology behind GPS and how it functions. On this page, I will discuss the purpose of GPS and what areas and industries it is prominently used in. Also, I will briefly describe how GPS works, but I will go into more detail later in the video. In the third paragraph, I talk about how GPS was able to improve different fields and also provide different examples. The pictures I've included on this page show the difference between a car GPS, which is this picture right here in the top left, and a military GPS, which is here in the bottom right. I have also included a video from the Discovery Channel about how GPS works. On this page of my website, I explain a beneficial effect that GPS has had. I discuss the impact it has had on navigation and how it has made travel easier by suggesting routes and even showing ways to avoid traffic, which has cut down travel time for many people. The picture I included on the top right is just a picture depicting the GPS satellites in orbit. I also discussed the impact that the innovation has had on society, economy, and culture. For this answer, I use the example of how GPS can be seen everywhere, and the vast majority of people have access to it. I also said that it affected the economy because it has made shipping goods easier, which means companies can sell their products for less. Another way which I showed its effect on the economy was by including this graph on the left here, showing the amount of GPS systems that have been purchased from 1993 to 2000. For the last question on this page, I had to give an example of an industry other than computer science, which the innovation has impacted. For this, I chose to focus on its impact on the military. GPS has helped armies launch strikes, plan strategies based on terrain, and recently has helped introduce drones which can be navigated by using GPS systems. On the bottom right, I added a chart which I made using Google Forms. I used Google Forms to ask a survey if people think GPS had a beneficial impact on society or more of a negative impact on society. I then was able to open the results in Google Sheets and make it into a chart like you see on the page. Below, I've placed my own video that I made using my iPhone 5S and YouTube editor in order to cut and put clips together and also add audio over some parts.
Here with Austin Halpern, about to ask him a question. What impact do you believe that GPS has had on your life?
You know, Dave, I think GPS has had a huge impact on my life. It allows me to kind of put the maps away, and if people show me where to go turn by turn without me having to take out the maps, it gives me new routes or faster routes that are available if there's a detour or accident. So it definitely gets me where I need to go in a quicker time than I would actually have to take out the maps and start planning my road trip that way.
In this next section, I had to describe how a user interacts with the innovation. I explain how easy it is for the user to just plug in an address and the GPS will give step-by-step directions based on the current position of the device. The picture I included shows the app icon for Google Maps, which many people, including myself, use on a daily basis. For the next section, I described how GPS uses algorithms in order to function. I explained how it uses the A* search algorithm, which works by using nodes to find an efficient path for the user. The picture on the right that I included is just a diagram of how a GPS signal works. In this next section, I'll describe how the innovation consumes data and produces data. GPS satellites send signals to devices in the form of radio waves, and devices will also send back signals. The more satellites that receive the signal, the more accurate the location will be. Also, the satellites need to calculate the distance of the device and use the travel time of the signal to do that. On the right, I added a picture of three satellites who are all sending signals to different things, and the more satellites on the picture, the more accurate the location will be, like the car in the middle down here. In this next section, I had to describe at least one storage, privacy, or data concern relating to GPS. Now, there are only two major concerns with GPS. One concern is privacy issue, and is because companies and the government can store and retrieve information from GPS systems. The other concern is a security concern, because people can easily hack into GPS networks. This is called GPS spoofing, has the potential to wreak havoc on GPS systems. For the references section of my project, I compiled a list of 7 sources that I used throughout my paper. My most used source would be this Understanding the Global Positioning System. As you can see, it has a lot of notes on how GPS is used, where it came from, and like calculations that need to be made in order for GPS to work. So now I'll talk to you about how I made my logo, banner, and animation. For the animation, which can be seen right here on my front page, all I did was compile 3 different photos and put them together and made a GIF out of it. I used Pixlr to find and edit the photos and used a GIF making website to compile the different JPEGs into the GIF you see right here. For my banner, which is on every page except for my home page, I used Pixlr in order to find a suitable banner looking image, and also my logo, which I created to put on top of the banner. I also used Pixlr in order to put text on, which is the impact of global positioning systems, my topic, and then my name. For my logo, I found a image which I could easily crop and use Pixlr to add different images with layers, using layers in the on the sides, and I used layers in order to add these 2 satellites and this text that just says GPS. In order to create my website, I had to use different HTML and CSS styles. On every single web page, I had to do this, and it helped me put together my text and put images on. For my first homepage, you can see that I had a certain style sheet, which is my external style, a CSS, and I added a JavaScript which gives the current date and time, current date and year every time someone opens it. Also, I was able to style my body paragraphs and add my background image, and also my GIF, which you can see right here. I put the image in. Also, I used paragraph tags and heading tags, specifically H1 for my main title, the impact of GPS, and H2 for the separate section, which is my abstract. Also used paragraph tags in order for my writing, and for my table of contents, I was able to make an ordered list and center it on the page. The pages in which most of my text is on are a little bit different than the first page, though not so much different. You can see when I look at the page source that I had to also add my banner, which I did like I would add any other source, but I also had to make it a link. So I told I used HTML in order to use the ahref tag, and I told it exactly where to bring you when you clicked on it. which would be my homepage, index.html. Also, I styled the headers and the paragraphs as with an internal style sheet to change the font size, the font color, and things like that, the indentation. For my references page, I had to make a table. Sorry. For the table, I had used the HTML tag table, and then for rows, I would use the TR, and I told it what the order I was going to put the info in was. I start off with the number of the reference, the author, the actual reference itself, and the year. I made each reference name a link to bring you to the actual page that it was on. Also, these are some things that can be seen on every single page that I've made, where these little buttons that I made down here, links to previous section, home, and on all the other ones except for the reference page, there's a next section. I styled these with an external style sheet and made the class buttons so that they look more appealing and not just plain old links at the bottom. Another very important thing to the style of my entire web page were div tags. I use div tags to separate and combine information, text, pictures, things like that. And I would give them each a class, or not an ID, which meant that I could use them in my external style sheet. I could style them so that they look nice on my page. I will go to my external style sheet in order to show you what I mean. So for my external style sheet, you can see all of these styles that I would put into my page. The hashtag content was the one I used most for the divs, and it showed that I'd make the background color white, which is what that means, the width 800 pixels, the margin 10 pixels, and the padding 50 pixels, which gives each page that I have this white border around it. Thank you for watching my video on the impact of GPS. For more information, head to my website at the link below.